hit every position, but I could think of two, I guess. Punter and kickoff. What are your thoughts? How is the
Why'd you wait to the end for those, Brian?
I should have done it first.
Brian, who brought in, obviously Ollie did a great job for us, and Brian, we wanted a proven guy, and he was proven coming in from Colorado State, and he's just been booming the ball. I mean, just been really even in the last week, it's gotten amazing how he's been doing it. But we ask him to do some different kicks sometimes, and he's very coachable, and he's also an outstanding holder. So we feel real comfortable with that. And then we brought Big Jack in for one of the reasons. Obviously, he's got a strong leg, but the kickoff thing, we wanted to try to get somebody that could kick the ball halfway or further in the end zone, and he's consistently done that in practice.
Any more clarity on kicker?
No, who the starting kicker? I mean, probably Jack and Nate are probably ahead of Peter right now. We did a lot of kicks today. I mean, a bunch of – it wasn't live, but a little bit of pressure on them being out there. And it was good at times, and it was uneven at times as well. So I think that battle, you'd like for somebody to emerge in the next week, but right now it's pretty close between Nate and probably Nate and Jack right now, and Peter still catching up to him because he was out for a little bit.
Can you evaluate that just strictly by the numbers in the spring?
Not really. I mean, our guys, we got really good special teams coaches, and they've got a lot of stats. And I'll look at them, and they chart everything and op times, and which ones are on the hash and the percentage. And I'll look at a total thing. We're gonna after tomorrow's practice, Sunday, kind of have a depth chart meeting, and it'll involve offense, defense, but also every special team. And that'll be just as we're at right now coming into next week. Now we got another week of practice before we really have to finalize it. But I'm going to be curious on how they perform a little bit tomorrow in practice and see what our coaches' opinions are, where everybody's at on the depth chart.
You went over returners a couple weeks ago. Any change there? Do you want a different kickoff and punt return guy, or could it be the same? Or?
Well, typically, if there's somebody that's really dynamic, you put back there in a kick return, but typically I'll get maybe a guy that's one of our faster guys, and maybe he's not a starter, but he plays and contributes, and put him out there. I've not been a big return guy. I think the first time, I might have been, I don't know if it was last year or a couple of whatever, the only time I ever finished in the top 10 in the country in returns, I think we returned 3 kicks all year. We fair caught every other one and run one back for 28 yards, so our average was 28, and that was good enough for it. Because I seen too many drives start inside the 10 because of a holding penalty. Now, we got to be disciplined enough that we're working really hard on having a good kick return unit so I can have the confidence to bring it out if it's, 1 or 2 yards deep, and that's or even if it's in, right now, if it was inside the 10-yard line, we probably were fair catching just about everything. I'd like to have the confidence in our return units and our returners that, we can bring those out, but we'll have to wait and see about that.
From your perspective, from calling plays against the defense, where's the defense right now in your mind?
We're doing probably more stuff than I've been around Zach a bunch of times. I think we're doing more stuff defensive than we ever have. And he won't, he's going to be, things that aren't working or our guys can't grasp, he won't put it in there. And most of it has been just things we'll need all year. I mean, he's got some stuff in for first game and all that, but we do a whole lot. But Zach's always done a whole lot. So he's demanding of our guys from a schematic, understanding football standpoint. You'd like to be good enough, just play this one front, one blitz, one coverage, and be good enough to win games that way. But I don't know if anybody can do that nowadays. But we do probably a lot more stuff than most. But if we can't execute it, I'll be the first one to step in and say, hey, Zach, we're struggling to execute it. We got to pin it down to a handful.
Rich, there's a lot of sayings and cliches out there. Is it impossible to teach or coach toughness into a kid?
You know what? That's an interesting question. If they're willing, I don't think it's not impossible, but they have to be willing to. If they're not naturally tough or not naturally have a hard edge, whatever you want to call it, they got to be at least willing to attempt to be that. if they fight that all the time, then, that's going to be a battle. But I've said before, I had guys that, I heard the saying before, the puppy don't bite when the puppy, he ain't going to bite when he's a dog, right? And I've had guys here at West Virginia, my first stint, that proved me wrong. And I thought this puppy ain't going to bite, and they proved me wrong. So I think guys will adapt to their environment. And here, not everybody's going to have the same level of toughness, but there's a certain degree, I hope, of toughness and hard edge that you have to be in this program. And it's natural for some guys. Other guys, it's not as natural, but they all have the capability of doing it.
Was the scrimmage, are you looking for the same things, different things now that you're deeper into it?
Yeah, probably a little more situational stuff today, yesterday, tomorrow. We did a whole bunch of different situational stuff. End of half, end of game, minute left, 20 seconds left, 40 seconds left, 3rd and 10, 2nd and 1. There's different red zone, gold zone, backed up on the 1 yard line. We did a whole bunch of that, and tomorrow will probably be very much the same. Because I don't want to assume, even though some of these guys have experience in other programs or playing college, I don't want to assume that they've all been in these situations. And so that's a big part of what the last couple of days have been and what tomorrow's going to be.
As you've started on a little bit of coastal prep, can you just discuss some of the challenges of trying to navigate a
Yeah, you don't really know. And in particular, they're got a whole new staff, so we know what that's like. They're going to have a bunch of new players, and so you're a little bit of guesswork going there, and then you could kind of study what that staff or those coordinators have done in the past. But it's the first game of the year, so you're likely to see a whole bunch of new stuff. So you can try to prepare us like them. They can prepare for us, but there's a lot of stuff that we're doing in all 3 phases that we hadn't done before. So I think everybody's that way every year. The first game is, I always found the first 2 games, but particularly the first game, is the most difficult to prepare for from a schematic standpoint. So you got to be foundational and fundamentally strong going into it.
You kind of just work on you and then react to what they do to you. Is that kind of how you do it?
Well, a little bit like everybody's got a system. Like, for us, it's like on offense, defense, and special teams, we have what I call, this sounds like clinic talk, but what it is, we have what we call the answer sheet. Like, this is our answers if they do this. This is our answers if they do that. This is our answers if they do this. And so you got to have an answer sheet for every front, coverages, all that kind of stuff. The same way for defense, from personnel groups to formations. What are your answers to that? And the same thing in special teams. You got to have your answers. So the answer sheet is something that we'll finalize this week, the next 4 or 5 days. And then it's not just the coaches knowing it. Hell, that's our job. It's getting our players to understand and anticipating what those answers would be.
How often does it happen that maybe you didn't practice on some things off the answer sheet in a week just because it is so extensive?
Yeah, and it's hard to get everything. I mean, there's so many different situations. And the hardest part is with the quarterbacks is that, Scotty's played some in the system, but Mike and Jiren and, Max didn't really play much. Those guys are, first years in the system, so to speak, and they're, so they – and when you grow up in the system and get more years, like these guys hopefully all come back, they can anticipate what the answer is going to be. They're going to anticipate what's coming next, and it becomes natural. Right now, it's not natural, but we got 2 more weeks to make it natural.
Is there a sense of anxiousness maybe that you're starting to prepare for Coastal 2 weeks and you just want the season to get started?
I'd rather have an extra week of practice, but the players would tell you, hell no. All right, let's play a game next week, and we're tired of practicing. So I don't think coaches ever tell you they wouldn't take more time. But, this has been the most unique one because it's only 2 weeks of camp. So it didn't really feel like we had a camp, the grind, whatever you want to call it. So we tried to go a little bit more this week in practice. But it's, I'm excited for our team, our players. I'm excited for our fans, and I'm anxious to see what we got too. I think I have an idea, but I've been doing this a long time. I could get fooled. I think it's going to be a fun. Still think I said this before. I didn't make predictions, but I think it's going to be a fun team to watch. I hope it's fun in the right way.
Wednesday, you described some of the action as a pillow fight? Were you
Yeah.
happier with the intensity the past couple days?
Well, yesterday was in shorts, so and no pads, so you couldn't help but pillow it, that one. And today was in shells, and it was a little more physical, but it wasn't like, so I couldn't answer your question. I don't think the unpillowness was able to be shown in the last day or two. So tomorrow, hopefully we can unpillow ourselves and have a little physicality in the scrimmage.
Ask again on Tuesday.
Yeah. That next time we meet, Tuesday. Yeah. If you see me with a pissed off look at my face, we continued with the pillow fight. It might have been a Snoopy one too. That's how bad it was. It could have been a Snoopy pillow fight. Raquel likes Snoopy.
Rich, two players that took really unique paths to get here, Emerson Joy, and then the basketball kid from Indiana, who, originally from Africa. So
Yeah, Jonas Mule. Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on those two? Obviously,
Yeah, Jonas, you can see his athleticism. Golly, he's gonna, and he's got a great career in front of him. He's very eager to learn. Everything is new to him, and so he's really raw. But he runs like a tight end or even a wide out. He's got great athleticism. So really excited about him. And Emerson, we kind of, we saw him, and man, this guy's got, he's got great size, and it's different. The first thing I said, we have 4 downs here. So, you got an extra down maybe to get a sack or something. So, if it's third down, don't think it's all over. There's no fourth down there. But he's been great, and he's catching on quickly. He was a little late here, so he wasn't here all summer. But I think he's going to be able to help us.
You have players like Jonas or like even Toby Hastrup who have a little bit less football experience in their careers, started a little bit later. Is there any advantage to being able to kind of teach them from the ground up?
I think so. If you're referring to they don't have bad habits because they don't have any habits, But he's, his mentor Roosevelt Barnes has been Rosie's been great for him. He's taught him a whole lot of football, so it's really helped him more than a guy that with his lack of playing time in football. So he's progressed a tremendous amount because of his mentor in the last year, and with the 3 line coaches that we have here, I could see it in it's been 3-4 weeks. So I really excited about it. The nice thing about Jonas is that you could tell that he loves ball. He'll be out here on his day off, putting a helmet on and doing extra work outside, and he's like a sponge right now. The sponge is squirting out from all over the place because it is. Because we go pretty fast on offense sometimes, so it can kind of get him. But he's a lot further along than he was a week ago, and he'll be a lot further along in a week than he is today.
Cam Torber, where's he at in your eyes?
Yeah, I've been, Cam Torber's was a great find for us, but we knew about it from our time in Alabama. So, and I knew it then. I'm like, we're going to try to get him at Jack State, and I was like, I hope nobody else finds out about this guy. But you come from the state of Alabama, people are going to know who you are, and he's done an outstanding job. He's going to play as a true freshman. He'll play on defense. He's going to play on special teams. I'm really excited for Cam Torber. I think is he one of the guys talking today? Yeah, he's a great young man too. He's going to have a great future here.
Size and speed, he's got.
Yeah, he can run. He's one of the biggest guys we got. He might be the fastest backer we have. I don't know the speed wise, but he's got he comes from good bloodlines. With his family, and he's just a really good football player. And I'd take a bunch of Cam Torbers, I can tell you that.
Rich, you got Jaden Bray, obviously outside wide receiver. Who are some of those other guys that have started?
Prince Strahan. Prince has been hurt, and he's healthy coming back. He's got experience. Started at Boise. John Nider, who's got experience, started at UConn. Teron Francis has really come on in the last week or so. Who else am I missing there? I'm gonna leave somebody out because. Yeah, Dr. John there, Teron Francis. I said, Mitch, the young guys, the freshmen are all coming along. Got a little way to go. Keon Hutchins is a junior college guy. Is one of the fastest guys we got outside, and he's had some good days. But we have some size with Jaden, John, and Prince, and that was one thing we tried to get into when we got in the portal. We good? Mike had to wake Mike up. He's sleeping. Normally he comes up here, but now he's being too lazy.